Welcome everyone to the first anti-reviews podcast where we review things that have come out. Why am I covering up the on Fire on Mars? This is already off to a great start. Probably not going to change it. How is everyone? Welcome Erich and Weekend Warrior.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
So how did you guys feel about Fired on Mars?
I started out skeptical about it because it's like an animated show, which, animated shows can be hit or miss. But it had a big BoJack Horseman kind of like dealing with people's internal lives, with their hopes and dreams, and how those get crushed by society and stuff. So it ultimately was very pleasant for me.
Oh, that's
Well,
good.
I actually didn't like it at first because the
Yeah.
protagonist.
Wow.
No, because let me explain. The protagonist started out cringe, but I understood where the show was going at I think the Judith episode, and then okay, I see where you're going with this. And no, even earlier when he stepped up and admitted that he fucked up the accident and he saved our boy. So yeah.
Yeah, best
There's
boy
a good
checks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a good person inside there. It's just being cringe at some points, but that's life, right? You have this idea of where you want to go, and then life kicks you in the balls, and you try to pick up the pieces afterwards. It's a good show, actually. I liked it.
Yeah, I was shocked that you hated it, but you've only seen 2 episodes at that point. So.
No, at that point, I was like, oh my god, can this guy stop being cringe? And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get it.
I mean, like it's.
Warren, you were the early adopter for this show. Where did you even hear about it from?
I don't even know. Jesus.
Yeah, then you just see an ad on HBO and like, oh, this looks like a good show.
Yep, just always
I feel like
looking
it
for
had
shows.
barely gone up before you were like, "Hey, this is really good," and I was like, "Damn."
Well, it's actually
Didn't
been
even know.
out for a while and nobody has looked at it. It was a real tragedy and people should really see it.
Oh my
God,
God.
if there's not a second season of this, I don't know what I'll do because I'm so invested in this universe. I want to know what these people are going to get up to. What's the big thing that he did at the end, you know? I want to see what the lives of these people are going to play out. If it just fades into obscurity, it'll be a real bummer, you know?
I'm kind of wondering how likely it'll be to get a second season, because I think generally speaking, animated shows, because they have such long lead times, they will oftentimes greenlight a second season even before the first one's even out, just so you can get the animators working on it.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anything, so I guess it doesn't look good. Like, I assume they would have announced it if it was already in the works, right? But also, I don't think it takes much more than a year to make one of these shows. Like, animation has gotten pretty fast over the years.
When did this release? Like last year or this year?
I think
This
early
year.
this year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
They
maybe
bragged
3
about
months in.
She-Hulk getting a second season already, so we should know by now, right? I think that's.
I mean, She-Hulk
It
clearly
went off on
deserved it.
420.
Oh,
420.
Yeah, the first episode aired on 420.
Well, now
maybe
that's
by
truly
the end
cringe.
of the year. Maybe by the end of the year. We can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, sure
this-
would be a bummer if not. Can you imagine?
This show deserves a second season than She-Hulk. I would fucking say.
Well, I mean, She-Hulk is clearly very good, so it is a hard competition out there.
No, I meant Velma. Oh my god, like Velma and She-Hulk, because Velma was in HBO too, right? So
Yeah, that was a Max official. Yeah.
yeah, we don't have Max here. We have piracy here in
Wow,
Flash.
shocking! I cannot condone. But yeah, only the highest quality of animated shows on HBO Max. That's pretty good. Like I've rewatched it again, which was very good. It was even better than the first time, I guess. And like it does not waste time. Like you think, oh, he's messing about, and it feels like a lot of time is passing, but like he just messes about in like the first episode, and then he gets blown out of the airlock. And
Yeah,
and put in the
and he
tank.
dies.
Yeah. Eating his own shit in the tank, yep. God, there's so many things in this. Like, Jesus, he would have died if the doctor hadn't been, like, trying to date the nurse, like, in secret, and then the tank was beeping. So many little coincidences that save his life. Or did he realize that that the clock that he stole was the dwarf's clock, right? So I was like, why did he just smash through that door? But it's because he heard the clock and he reclaimed it, and I was like, oh god, that guy, how could he blow it for everyone? He just unleashed all those locusts. But yeah, I mean,
it's the kind of like unthinking. He was just trying to solve his own problem. He wasn't paying attention to like what everyone else's like life around him was like. So he was willing to sabotage everyone else in order to make his job a little bit easier.
Are you talking about Jeff or the dwarf?
Yeah, Jeff. No, Jeff.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
the dwarf like was just reacting to something he was like used to being taken out of its normal place.
God, that was so sad. I can't believe he took his cuckoo clock. That was his number one entertainment. He was so happy when he cuckooed. Oh man. And I like how he didn't rub the Santa's belly, you know, and then a horrible thing happens. That's so brilliant. But in the end, he did rub the belly, so I guess he will be fine on whatever crazy venture he goes on.
Yeah, I think he's gonna start a colony, right? That's what's it's implied. Well, I hope it gets a second season. I think he's like he's finally decided on what he wants to do. And I think that was like the first of the first season.
Yeah, it's crazy how Jeff is just like so crazy in the first episode, but he gets gradually more competent, and he just really gets his shit together. And in the end, it's like, oh, did he go way too far? I mean, yeah, he probably did, but we know that he's gonna have his stupid blind luck like work out, and he's probably gonna build a flourishing colony. And that would be.
So is that what he's
good.
doing? He's going to like, because he disappears at the like he's almost not in the last episode at all.
Yeah,
until you see him on that rover like heading out.
Yeah, I love how you just have like all the people picking up the pieces of where he might have gone, and like
I thought he was gonna be in that like freezer that the guy had displayed. But
the pod, no.
Yeah, the pod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. The guy just goes home at the end of the episode. This is where I belong.
But yeah, no, he was hyped up to be this face of this Mars anniversary. You know, they would have not put him. Well, I guess that would have been a fun reveal if he came out of the tank. But it's a serious medical procedure, so that would have probably not happened. You know. I guess like another thing is you could think, oh, did he go after the crazy plan with the nukes that the other guy was describing? But no, it sounds like he stole.
Probably not.
Yeah, he stole useful supplies for building a colony, but he's only got like one rover, so how will that work out?
Yeah.
Will he live in the back of that rover?
Let's just talk about the series as it like gets started, because some people might have not watched the show and are kind of like not understanding what the hell the thing is about.
Yeah, I better put some spoiler warning there when we say
yeah,
all
definitely
that.
have some spoiler tags up front. But like, yeah, the show starts and this guy has gone up to Mars to work for a company called Mars Lee, and he's a graphic designer, which I think is a hilarious thing to like send someone to Mars to do, is to graphic design on a planet, when it's so easy to just have that person work on Earth. But I think the idea behind it is that they're trying to make Mars like a sustainable colony of its own that like people can inhabit, and he's kind of like a representation of what kind of people they want. They want everyone on the Marsley company to be there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people on there that have really non-essential jobs, and they all do well, I guess. Who knows what Marsley's business model even is? What do they sell? Do they just get like government handouts like Elon Musk would, and just have this completely pointless colony? Or do they ever get around to doing science? Who knows?
I think it's a pun on something, right? It has to be. It seems like that.
Marsley? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like.
It's like Bitly. It's like bit.ly, but Mars.ly.
Yeah, and I think it's a play on something. Yeah, it might be that.
Well, is Bitly like a big evil corporation?
Well, Bitly like shortening. You can like shorten web addresses, and I think they just put Mars in there.
Well, they probably bought up Bitly because they probably could afford it, you know. Who knows?
The .ly is the dead giveaway for that to me.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess that actually, have you seen if there's a website? I must find out now. What happens if I go to Mars.ly? Oh, it doesn't
You probably go
exist.
to HBO. Oh, damn.
Wow, that's
Nothing's happening.
what an oversight.
Yeah.
I guess we're definitely not getting a season 2 then. Oh no.
Yeah, they haven't developed the SEO to get that website.
That's a shame.
Wow, it's too expensive, Marsley. Oh
What-
no. Yeah,
And then back to
I guess
yeah, back to Erich's point. After we got this graphic designer living his life on Mars, he gets called in the office the first day, and he gets fired on Mars. His job.
You know exactly why it's called that in the very
Oh,
first episode.
yeah, it's like, oh my god. Then he's struggling. Basically, the whole season is him trying to figure out what he wants to do now that he was fired.
And it's like they never tell him like we're shipping you back down to Earth. They never like make because that would be a waste of material, I'd assume. Is
Yeah.
like sending one person
I
back
mean,
down.
not
doesn't make any sense.
necessarily,
But it's like-
because they probably would have to reuse the rockets anyways, right? They probably have reusable
Yeah, but
rockets at that point. So
They're
there's
probably not sending anything.
well, there's probably a lot of
They're
empty
probably not
rockets
sending
going
anything back
back.
to Earth.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do
So
with the rockets?
I think it's so, but it's so like costly to do anything there. So like maybe they'd send stuff back every couple of years, but I don't think like within the time frame that he's fired, they're not going to be able to just send him right back.
I mean, they do get frequent shipments from Earth, I assume, so they probably
Yeah,
have
but getting
to.
shipments is different from sending something back. Like that's the difference.
But wouldn't you reuse the rockets and just send them back?
I think they said in the episode at some episode that it's like a one-way trip. Or I might be misremembering it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he definitely said that, but I feel like in reality you do something with those rockets, unless they just like unless the rockets just come apart and become like building blocks for the colony.
Well, Florian, I think within our modern like space travel things, we've tried to use reusable rockets or reusable craft and stuff like that, and we haven't really figured it out yet.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just
but we
incredibly
also haven't figured out how
hard
to do
to-
a Mars colony at all. Like Elon Musk is
Sure,
telling us
sure.
he has a plan, but he does not have a plan. If that man sends anything to Mars in the next 50 years, I'll be so surprised.
Mhm.
I would be shocked.
Yeah. But one of the things I really like that this show goes into is this like corporatized space where people can fall through the cracks, things fall through the cracks, and the show is kind of like what happens if an entire kind of culture develops around the things that have slipped by and people aren't really paying attention to anymore.
What exactly do you mean by that? Like, what has formed a culture of having fallen through the cracks?
So there's this like corporate ethos, this like corporate idea of what Mars should be, and a lot of the people within that society feel kind of disenfranchised by that, and that's why the entire like revolutionary group forms up. Like that's just how these things happen. Is that people
Right.
feel like they aren't being noticed, aren't being paid attention to, and they start looking at other outlets to do that.
Well, I assumed that they were all just insane, you know. I thought they really just like I didn't think they had like a valid reason for wanting to escape the colony.
But you think the corporate culture they've put on Mars is good? You think that like it's a great system there?
I mean, it sounds interesting. I guess you just have like a party culture where the CEO parties and
That I'm gonna go with a no.
No?
That is
It's
not-
definitely a no, and you see those same kinds of like terrible like the boss's son or whatever is in
Yeah.
charge when he like finally gets to that upper echelon and he's like talking to this weirdo who has all these crazy ideas for things and he just kind of blows into meetings late. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's got a vision, but the vision is like scattered and doesn't make any sense. And yeah, like that's a person that within like a nepotism system would thrive in that environment, not for any good reason, just because they're related to the founder. And like
No.
they tell him like you shouldn't bring up that he's related to someone and that's why he's there. And Jeff kind of like circumspectly says that and gets their
Well,
like
well,
ire towards him.
well, I'm shocked that you would think that nepotism was at work here, because this guy is T is clearly so very competent, and
T.
he's the only one who actually would have the balls to do something on Mars, and he wants to terraform. Like, everyone else is just, I guess, not really getting that much done, and he's the one who has a plan. I don't know.
I think everyone else wants to, or not, maybe not wants to terraform, but that is the plan. But it's such a long-term plan that like they are not going to see the fruits of that. And I think as humanity kind of reaches out into these spaces where things are not going to happen on the short run, it's going to happen on the long run, where 3 or 4 generations later, those people might be reaping the fruits of what you planted 3 or 4 generations past. It's harder to convince people now to sacrifice themselves to get to that point.
I guess we will see whether or not he would have gone through with it, but maybe we won't. I don't know. He
In
probably
Alien, there's the idea of like sleeper ships, where it's like you are put to sleep for long periods of time because space travel would be incredibly boring, and you're kind of doing nothing other than just existing to get to the other place. Like the amount of space that space inhabits, and the like amount of travel we'd have to do, could mean that you'd have several generations of people that are literally just on that ship so that they can then just pilot it. Just like be there so that 3 or 4 generations down the line you get to your destination. It's pretty crazy to think about.
what was that movie called that you?
You're on a ship.
Alien?
Wait, that was
Is
Alien.
it like you're on a ship
Well,
and then the ship
No, I'm
change direction?
pretty sure in Alien they go back and forth a lot. They're like space truckers. They're not like scientists that go to
they
sleep.
are on a sleeper ship. They come out of cryosleep in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they just haul like goods back and forth, and it takes like a year.
They do. You're right that they totally do. But like, as we try to go further and further out, it calls for more crazy amounts of you either take a bunch of embryos with you and then colonize someplace, but those lives will not be lived out, and you're kind of just the trucker. You're not really gonna live anywhere.
What's that movie where the guy wakes up the woman and they're like on this sleeper ship forever?
Is
that like
Chris
the
Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah,
movie?
that was what
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
thinking
so.
about. Yeah.
What's it called?
Passengers.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Passengers. Yeah, there it is.
Passengers.
Yeah.
I have never seen it. I just know.
Yeah, it does not work out for them. Well, I don't know if they. I guess we don't need that if we're just staying on Mars.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, if it's just Mars, then that doesn't matter.
I guess
just find that.
I guess they could put everyone
I
to sleep
find-
until it's terraformed. I guess that could
Yeah,
work.
I find human beings having to like grapple with the large scale effects of technology to be incredibly interesting to me. But like, there's a bunch of characters in this show that are all interesting. He's got a girlfriend who's back on Earth who I immediately was like, this is not going to work out. I think
No
the show
way. How did you know?
a bit. The show draws that out a bit much, where I think his hopes
Oh,
that they would have a
it doesn't.
long-distance relationship.
It doesn't actually drag it out. Like it's in the first episode where.
But in the last
Yeah.
episode, she's like still like, because he's now climbed these like the
corporate
ladder
ladder.
and is at the top. She's like, oh hey, I'm gonna be on my way back to Mars. I think that is stringing it along.
Well, I mean, he's stringing her along at that point. Like, he doesn't need her anymore. But I mean, if she comes, I don't know, it might work out. But like, it's pretty clear that it's like mostly over after the first episode. But then he rekindles it slightly, I guess. Oh man, and then Jax bursts in on him having that phone call. He was not cool at that point.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Jax is
What a
such an
show.
interesting character because like he has to he at several points in the show, Jeff gets like very stuck in his place and sedentary, and as in most lives, you like stop understanding that there is something you're striving for, or you like lose meaning in life. And so Jax is one of the people who like gets him back up and like helps him to see purpose, or like find a place within the society. But then he kind of gets dropped by Jeff later on in the show, which I think is such a great like that I think it's such a great encapsulation of you move through different phases in your life, and there are people that mark those phases, but at a certain point you drop those people, and they can be like angry at you for dropping them. Like that's so great to me.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about, okay? He definitely held Jax in his heart all this time, okay? And he's the only one who he writes a letter to when he departs on his crazy ending mission, you know? So I think...
So you're saying...
I think they're still good,
Jeff
you know?
Jax's endgame is what you're saying. You're saying the one true pairing of Jeff and Jax is going to be what we end the show with.
Team JJ.
Yeah.
Oh my god, could you imagine if Jeff gets put in charge of this new colony in some way? I mean, Jax. Yeah, if Jax and Jeff and Jax, both of them have to manage this colony, that would be crazy.
That would be the best ending to this to the series.
Well, yeah, Jax is definitely the best character.
So I do want to call out some of the voice acting in the show, because they're very normal sounding people, and it is a animated show. So like it's very normal looking animation with I think great voice actors. I did not realize John Noble was the CEO. Holy shit!
Oh really? Damn.
Wait,
Yeah.
isn't the CEO just the guy in the wheelchair with the Darth Vader voice?
Yeah, he looks like Morton Joe.
Great.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, I'm really interested in who that actor would be. The worst voice.
Oh, it's John Noble though. Come on, he's cool.
Who is he?
He's Denethor in Lord of the Rings.
Ah, damn it!
You should know this, Mr. Hobbit.
Wait, is that the guy who's the steward of Minas Tirith?
The steward of Gondor, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
wait, Gondor or Minas Tirith? Is that the same
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I guess that's cool. I guess he's another failed leadership person.
Yeah, Luke Wilson plays Jeff, and he's so great. Like, Luke Wilson is Owen Wilson's brother, and I just think he's done such a great job over the years of like getting roles of the normal guy who kind of breaks out of what is expected of him.
Isn't he the guy in Idiocracy also?
He is.
Hell
Yes.
yeah!
Oh.
Wow,
Nice.
I need to watch more of him if he's in more of these high concept fantasy things. Wow, what a journey!
Yeah, Tim Heidecker is Darren Young, the one business guy who's always hanging around.
Yeah, but so Jax is basically a complete lunatic at the start, and I guess he stabilizes somewhat and becomes less crazy over the show. But he's harboring resentment at how busy Jeff is. But Jeff is like reasonably busy considering he's in a secret society as well as climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, that was only like 2 weeks, and Jax is like pissed that he didn't get to talk to Jeff for like 2 weeks. That's a bit of a tragedy, but okay. But
no, that's why Jeff Jax is the end game. Like he's acting like a scorned lover.
God, the way Jax acts at the start when he destroys the mobility scooter of that one guy. Like what a loose cannon, and of course the playing with the gases.
Yeah, he's a great character.
I guess I should describe he's flooding the building with nitrous oxide, which apparently makes everyone high, but it also is highly flammable, so it's a big problem. Of course.
when that explosion happened or whatever.
Yeah, that's so great.
So
That's so great, wasn't it?
And then Jax
he
immediately takes responsibility, even though it was totally Chef.
He's such a good. He's such a cool guy.
And everyone beating up on Jeff, even though they had like no way of knowing it actually was him, even though it was.
No, it just goes to show how low he is on the totem pole. Like he's Mr. No Respect guy. So
well, he is Mr. Fucks Up the Most guy, you know, like he did destroy an airlock in the first episode. and then he was unemployed and messing with the with the label maker and sabotaging everyone's operation.
I did like the third episode personally, because like you are on this journey where you realize you fucked up and you got a bro that bailed you out, and then you know what? I'm gonna fix my life, and I'm gonna get my shit together. And then at some point he's still not satisfied with it. I kind of resonate. That kind of resonated with me because like you think you got it all figured out, and then when you're actually going through the motions, you're like, oh, I guess I didn't like this at all. And then he's stuck in a rut again. Like I understand that a bit.
Yeah,
When
that
you're
episode is crazy. I love how he just starts out. Oh, I got fired again, but this is it. I'm gonna read all these books. I'm gonna join all these clubs. I'm gonna improve myself. I'm gonna learn another language. I'm gonna be the best chef I can be. And like 3 days later, he starts watching TV and stops shaving.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of inertia when you go to like change yourself or make some huge life change. You start out really strong, and then as the weeks go on, it gets harder and harder to maintain that. And that's why so many people backslide so often
Yeah.
is you just go right back to what your
To the
regular habits were.
Yeah.
default. So that's why I gotta take it slow.
Mhm.
He was so
Yep.
low, he almost didn't take the job offer, even though he's been struggling with unemployment for so long. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm busy watching TV." It probably would have been better not taking that job, but whatever.
Yeah.
Just having to move around rocks and getting radiated on Mars, being a guinea pig for radiation poisoning.
You know what? The funniest thing is like when he actually gets into like a hype corporation position where he's actually artistic. He kind of he actually makes it right. Like he can actually do the job. It's like he just Mr. Unlucky.
Well, he procrastinates for like such a long time, but then he gets this stupid magazine that the other guy in the Resistance gave him, which is just like a 15 like a 200-year-old nude magazine or whatever, where there's no nudity. It's just like, oh, there's a bit of ankle, and then he decides, I will go with some kind of old Americana stuff. That'll be it. So he just copies like things he sees in this magazine. So I guess it's funny that he is in fact competent, but then like even then his competency is very derivative of what he's seen around him.
I also like the episode where they got stuck in a cave. That was like one of the highlights for me.
How where she makes him draw the corpses.
Yeah. That's like some mortality shit, right? And you think, oh, they made it out. What a wholesome ending. Surprise, motherfuckers. And the way they shot it is so good also. Like the way they animated it, like the camera angle is like it zoom out when they're like singing the song. It's like, oh, la di da, we're having fun. We've escaped the death trap.
Yeah.
And then she fucking trips and it breaks her fucking helmet. Oh my god.
And she was like immediately like fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't
she
even
died.
know. I guess
She died
this game is.
immediately.
I mean, this series isn't very accurate when it comes to how quickly he would die on Mars. Obviously, like his finger freezes off. Like your finger's not gonna freeze off in space. Come on, like that's such a stupid sci-fi trope. Even if it gets really cold on Mars and there actually is an atmosphere, the atmosphere is so thin it couldn't like freeze dry your finger that quickly. And she probably would have been fine to it. Probably would have had a way to patch up her helmet. But I guess she got like shards of glass in her head. I don't know if
Yeah, it looks like something also came in her head. Like it was really wrecked.
I mean, she would have not been dead at that point, but I guess whatever. Like, if she probably would have died slowly, and it would have been even worse.
Florian, what would be more better? She died instantly, or they're scrambling to help her, and she's slowly suffocating while there are shards of glass around her face. What would be a better way to have done that scene?
Hey, I think we should have definitely it definitely happened like way too fast. It's like he sees her and she's dead, and then it cuts to the funeral. So I think that there would have been a little time for a struggle. Like maybe she even doesn't even become like a hideous bloated corpse. Maybe she just like fails to breathe or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, so this is my question. If we do have a second season, will Jeff continue to fuck up, or will he actually get his shit together? What do you guys think?
How much does he actually fuck up in the last part? I mean, he did the.
Oh no, in the last episode, that's him at his peak. That's a peak competence. But after
Yeah.
that, will they go back to the thing where he slides back to incompetence, or will he like be on a consistent level of competency? It's just that the challenge of making a colony on Mars is the hard part. What do you guys think?
I mean,
Yeah, I think everything's gonna get harder. So his level of competence might be good, but the like tasks in front of him are gonna be way harder.
yeah, like the fact that he goes out and tries to make a colony with like one truck is probably a sign that he's not thought this one through well enough. Like, there's no way there's enough good stuff on that truck to make a colony, but he probably will get help and it will probably work out. So I guess it all makes sense in the end. If he dies, it would just be him dying and not he wouldn't take anyone with it. So it could work, but he does make some crazy mistakes, even though like in the episode before that one with the I think or whatever the Locust episode was, like he didn't fully fuck that one up. Okay, he could have had no way of knowing that the cuckoo clock would attract the dwarf who would smash through through the wall. Okay,
Yeah, it was a good idea.
that was incredibly poor luck. But if he had just asked for the clock, I mean, he probably would have gotten it. You know.
Yeah, because Mr. Dwarf likes him, right?
Yeah, he even offered him a favor in the end. So
Yeah.
so I was very shocked when he betrayed Chef, even though he didn't know it. You know, he just smashes through the wall. What did he do before that? I guess he escaped. I mean, he failed at killing the rats, and then he was brought to the secret society. But then he doesn't turn them in, which is, I guess, a fairly smart thing to do, which I was surprised by, even though I probably would have definitely turned them in right away. They tried to kill him. How does he do that? How does he not turn them in? A lot of cool stuff happening.
It's just a really good show. Like, it keeps you on your toes. You
It
can almost
does.
never guess what's gonna happen next.
It's kind of amazing when I think about it with you guys. Like, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great how every episode has like something new happening, and there's almost no dead air, even though there is in fact times where Jeff just wastes a lot of time, but like there's always something interesting happening, you know?
Yeah, I think I think it was like eight. It's 8 episodes, right? I think that's perfect number for this. That was
Yeah,
like
I think 10 might have been too many.
yeah.
I mean, I
'Cause
probably
you-
could
you'd
have
get
gone for
annoyed.
more.
You could have like gone with more Jeff incompetence, and that will just
Yeah, that would have not been what
make
I'd
the
want.
audience. Yeah, that would make the audience root for Jeff less. I think the 3 episode mark was great
What do you
like-
think is the worst thing that Jeff did?
in the show.
Yeah.
Well, the locust thing is like it's not really his fault, but he kind of started it, right? So
Yeah, just highly irresponsible. But I mean, I guess. Yeah, no, there was
but
no
like-
way that could have gone wrong. Actually, he's definitely not clear on that one. Well, I think clearly the
For me,
worst.
it was letting all the locusts, like letting all
Yeah.
the locusts out.
Well, he did. He
the
could.
thing that-
No, his solution was airtight. Okay, like you couldn't predict
It
that.
wasn't.
You
No,
couldn't
it
predict him
wasn't.
smashing a wall. Who would think that he could
You
smash a
either-
wall?
He can find something else to do that job if he knows
Yeah.
that somebody else like relies on that thing or something. Like you find something else to do that. Like, yeah.
There would have been nothing else. It goes off every hour. It was perfect. All right, this cuckoo clock. It had to be the clock. Well, I think the worst thing he did was definitely when he left Jack's on that date and when he didn't show up. You know, that would have been a delicious turkey that they would have had. What a shame.
Ripperoni turkey.
But he was out on a secret mission, so I guess it was also not fully
Yeah.
like he could have said, "Oh, I'm busy," you know.
I'm busy helping the secret organization.
Yeah.
Does Jax actually know about them, or does he have no clue?
I don't think he knows.
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have known. What a shame. He didn't even tell his dearest friend about this.
Yeah, but he wouldn't know if Jax would like rat him out, right? Well, I don't think Jax
No way.
will. But
Yeah, he would never.
yeah. I think he was too busy. That's why he didn't tell him anything.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there was a point where he wasn't busy, right? Before he took the job as the creative director. Like he was just doing the cockroaches at that the locust at that point. He was just feeding them every hour, and he had like nothing else to do. So he could have left checks in on it, but I guess he chose to honor the secrecy that the other people were relying on. Even though it would have been pretty interesting to see how Jax would have interacted with this secret society.
Mm-hmm. I hope we get season 2. So we'll find out if Jax reacts to, you were a part of a secret organization this whole time.
I mean, who knows if it even comes out, because I think they did cover their tracks mostly. Oh, one of my favorite characters is the drunken detective, who is like the only one.
Sullivan, yeah,
the only one who puts it all together, but he almost dies like 100 times.
Yeah.
I think like right at the end, he's almost about to catch them. I guess Jeff will just deny that he ever was with them, or maybe they will actually get like thrown into some kind of prison. But then
no, I think Jeff left the company effectively, right? Because that's like a fuck you. That felt like a fuck you to the company.
Yeah, I mean, hard to tell. Maybe they have to be nice to him because he still had that high-end job.
And maybe he manages to make a colony after all. So maybe that happens also.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking that the people who had the secret society will get exiled, so they have to join Jeff's colony. So I guess it'd be interesting. He just has to stick around with those incredibly crazy people, even though they're mostly fairly talented.
And like what Erich said, I like that when in the final episode where it kind of like turns around where we barely see Jeff and we see the goings on behind the scenes in the office, and the guy that's in the portable wheelchair and his face is there. He's the one that's almost stressed out now, and the CEO on Mars is actually fired basically, and he basically quits life by getting on the tank. And it's kind of like a reverse of what happens to him in the first episode. It's nice.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Oh yeah. The other guy was fired.
Yeah, and the GF is like, oh Jeff, I'm going there, my boy, and Jeff doesn't give a fuck at that point. So yeah, I like it. It's
well, who knows? Cool. Maybe there'll be a whole new Adam and Eve. Just Jeff and his girlfriend in this new colony. It could happen. A lot of possibilities. Maybe they'll have an actual love triangle with the scientist lady.
Nah, I hope not. That would be fucking cringe.
And then Jeff gets cucked because they're lesbians now. Yeah. Okay, I must stop it. But yeah.
Oh my god, that would suck.
But yeah, everyone should go watch this show. Despite all the spoilers you heard here, it's still worth watching. So go check out Fired on Mars. I need this to have a sequel, a season 2. So please do.
I think this will get like 2 seasons, and I think that would be enough to tell the story. I think that would be a good way to at least.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 seasons could be fine. Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely work with like 5-6 seasons easily. But yeah, I mean, just any bit more would be fine. I guess they are telling a fairly quick story, and there's probably going to be there might be a time jump, after he makes the colony. Probably not too interesting, him just being in the colony alone. So maybe when we come back to him, he'll have things figured out in some interesting way.
Yeah, that would be nice.
He'll build the true vision of Mars as it was prophesied by someone. All right, well, everyone subscribe for more anti-review podcasts and check out Erich on Twitter. What's the name?
At TZARREVAN. Zarrevan.
And check out Weekend Warrior on his tiny little YouTube channel.
That's right.
Wow.
Always glad to shout out smaller creators,
What a generous That's why I like going on, Florian's podcast, giving me exposure. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna give you
exposure / humiliation. Where else can you get
that
kind of content?
You gotta give you all my indecent exposure, yeah.
or smoking hot takes.
For me. Yeah, see the best Squid Boy here. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.